Hello, welcome to AgDealerTV. I'm your host again this week, Scott Garvey. If you've been in the market for a piece of used farm equipment in the last 12 months or so, you'll notice that the activity in that segment of the market's been pretty hot and prices have been rising. To find out just what's been going on in the used farm equipment segment, I had a chance to talk to Ritchie Brothers' Jordan Clarke, who oversees the company's Western Canadian operations. I asked him to fill me in on what's been happening in the market, and here's what he had to say.
And two of our biggest times of the year for amount of consignments would be earlier in the year and later in the year. And even the time frame from January to end of April, which would include a lot of our farm auctions early in the spring. There was almost a 10% increase year over year, and then same with Q4. There's a 9% increase year over year in pricing. So it was pretty neat to watch. I think a low point of the year would have been June, July. Cropping at that point and crop conditions were tough. Drought was affecting a lot of parts of the prairies. There wasn't, a lot of insight as to what kind of crop was going to be there. And of course, as we worked our way through the last part of July and August, September, we saw the pricing, commodity pricing change. Of course, that changed the aspect of demand from buyers. So our auction sales that we had in October, November, December were direct beneficiaries of the strong pricing that happened late in the harvest season, and it was good to see because as we got through July, every sale that we did was the pricing was down a little bit more than the week before, and of course as you're butting right up against harvest, you start to lose some of those combine buyers, those header buyers, those windrower buyers, and that was some of the highest inventory levels we had. Certain sales had 60, 70, 80 combines in July. We sold over 200 combines in the month of July alone, used equipment combines in Western Canada. So you can tell where certain groups are trying to take advantage of the market right before harvest, and of course you put that much supply on the market in tougher crop conditions and tougher market conditions. There was a little bit of a dip, but it sure came back in a hurry in Q4.
Well, that's what the market's been like over the past year. And of course, auction companies have had to adapt to public health restrictions due to COVID. So that's changed the way auction companies have had to do business. Jordan and I talked about that as well.
Do you foresee the new sort of format sticking around after COVID goes away, if it ever does?
Yeah, sure hope it does. I honestly, I do believe so. From a seller's perspective, I would 100% advise every one of our sellers to have a timed auction for their dispersal. And I grew up in the auction business. I've been around this my entire life, and just to watch the consigners be able to sit back and enjoy the day and watch the day unfold and transact and the items sell in an environment where they can truly be at peace with it. It's pretty special to watch, as opposed to a live auction when you have 5 to 1,000 people in your yard, equipment's running. There's a lot of moving parts and logistics, and a lot of times the owners are needed and wrapped up in the action of the day, and they actually miss out on a lot of what's happening on sale day and the chance to talk with neighbors and friends and family and those kind of things. So I think from an enjoyment standpoint, I think it's a much better process. From a buyer standpoint, I think it's much more efficient. Customers can attend 5, 6, 7, 8, however many sales they want in a day, and be able to bid on items and place max bids and let the system bid on their behalf. They can watch it from their tractor seat, from the comfort of their shop, their home, wherever the case may be, where prior to that, even through internet bidding through a live auctioneer, you still had to be at that computer screen or at that phone at that moment in time when that item was selling, where now you don't necessarily have to be that. So we've actually seen our attendance increase for all of our sales, I think, because the new platform makes it much more efficient and much more flexible for customers to attend. So I think just from that aspect, I think we've seen a lot of efficiencies and a lot of benefits for both buyers and sellers. So I think from our standpoint, we are going to proceed with timed auction sales for the foreseeable future for at least 2022. We're always looking at evaluating the process. We want to make sure that we're leading the industry, and if there's changes or adaptations that we can make, by all means. But there's going to be certain times that a live auctioneer has merit, and if a customer truly wants that, we're willing to talk about what that looks like. And but there's also certain aspects of, obviously, as you mentioned, with with COVID, there's going to be guidelines and safety concerns and so on. So we're somewhat navigating our way through this as well. But I think we've caught the timed auction bug, and I think our customers have as well, and it seems to be working.
So I'll just finish off by asking you to look into your crystal ball and tell me what's going to happen in used machinery sales for 2022.
I would think, honestly, it's going to mimic a lot of what we saw in the last half of 2021, and it maybe even the early parts of 2021. From all the information that we've seen, it's going to take a while for manufacturers to catch up to demand. So I honestly think there's going to be a strong demand on the supply that's out there. So if there's going to be good used equipment available, whether it's a dealer lot, whether it's private sale, whether it's an auction sale, I think there's going to be quite a bit of buyers that are going to be going after those pieces. I would think, obviously, as we know, just weather is a huge factor in the appetite for customers to expand and purchase. I am a little bit concerned at the rising costs of inputs and how that potentially could affect equipment sales. I think they're not related, but they kind of are to a certain degree. So if we can start the year off in Western Canada with a decent amount of snowpack and runoff, and get the year started off on the right foot, I think we're going to see a good start. And if we can maintain that, it should be a solid 2022. However, we saw last year we had a strong start to the year and it dipped down hard in the summer and bounced back, strictly only on commodity pricing, not on a weather factor, right? So although those are tied together as well. So all indications right now, we ended the year with strong demand on equipment, and I think we're going to start the year on the same foot.
Well, that's it for this episode. Be sure to check back here on a regular basis for information on what's new and exciting in the farm equipment industry. Thanks for watching.